Hello everyone, welcome to this video on embedding a dashboard in React with ASP.NET Core in Bold BI. In this tutorial, I will show you how to create an application from scratch, configure, and run it using Visual Studio Code. This integration provides a seamless experience for accessing and gaining insights in real time. It helps manage data and visualizations in a centralized environment, simplifying data handling, reducing the complexity of analysis, and improving business performance. I've provided a link to the documentation, which includes a sample application for you to refer. Let's get started. I've already installed Node.js and .NET on my machine to create a React with ASP.NET Core application using Visual Studio Code. Next, I create a folder for the application and navigate to it. I run this command to create the project. This creates a basic project containing all necessary files and dependencies to start building a React application. Next, I run this command. This package provides JSON serialization and deserialization in .NET applications. It allows easy conversion between .NET objects and JSON formatting, facilitating data interchange with web services and APIs. Then, I run this command to add system runtime serialization primitives. This package provides runtime serialization support for various data types. It allows efficient conversion of objects into a format that can easily be stored or transmitted and subsequently deserialized back into their original object form. Next, I need to add an embed config.json file to configure embedding parameters, authentication, user context, and customization for the secure embedding of a dashboard. In the dashboard server, I click Settings, select Embed, and click Enable Embed Authentication. Then, click Download. A dialog box will open. I select the support category in Live Call Center Dashboard. Next, I download the JSON file and add it to the application's root folder. I open the application root folder in Visual Studio Code and create a new folder named Models. In it, I create a class, dataclass.cs. I add the required namespaces and classes. This imports libraries that handle JSON serialization, system operations, and data serialization under the core Dashboard Viewer Models namespace. Then, I add the data contract attribute to define the embed class, followed by embed query string and dashboard server API URL variable to define the query string and server API URL. Lastly, I add the embed details class to store all details regarding the dashboard server. I create a new file in model folder named global-app-settings.cs. I add a global app settings class to access and manage embedding configurations globally across the application. In controllers, I create a file named boldbi-embedcontroller.cs. Then, I add necessary namespaces for building the app that interacts using MVC-style attributes, handles JSON serialization, and shares code between the client and server. To avoid naming conflicts, I add the React with ASP.NET Core namespace. Then I add the API controller and root attribute. I add the BoldBI embed controller class to handle the GET request to getConfig, which reads embedconfig.json. It also deserializes it into an embed details object, stores it in a global setting, and returns key dashboard configuration values as JSON. I add this authorization server method to handle a post request. It constructs an authenticated embed URL for the dashboard by appending the user's email, timestamp, and signature. Then, it uses HTTP client to call the server and returns the result as a string. Lastly, I add the getSignature URL method, which securely creates an HMAC SHA-256 signature from a message using a secret key and encodes the result in base 64, used to ensure the integrity and authenticity of the embedding request. Next, I open the program.cs file and add the newtonsoft.json namespace to import necessary packages for JSON serialization. Within it, I add a permissive CORS policy to allow requests from any origin, HTTP method, and headers. This is important for the security implications and to adapt the policy to meet the application requirements. Next, I create a new file named package.json. Copy the code from the documentation and add it to the file. This defines the metadata, dependencies, and configurations for the application. Next, in the Client app SRC folder, I create a new folder named Dashboard Listing. Within it, I create a file dashboardlisting.js and add necessary namespaces to import React dependencies. Then, I define a React component that initializes a Bold BI embedded SDK instance for embedding BI dashboards, setting up API host, and an authorization URL for server communication. I add the render dashboard function, which initializes and loads a Bold BI embedded dashboard using the provided configuration and authorization server URL. I add a DOM element with the ID dashboard, which will be utilized in the render dashboard method. I add the component didMount method that contacts the server to retrieve the token. With this token, specific dashboard details are collected and passed to the render dashboard method for rendering. I open the app.js and replace the code. This imports necessary modules, defines the app component, renders the dashboard listing component, and exports it for use in other files. Next, I open index.js file and replace the code. This imports necessary modules and app component and uses React DOM to render the app component into the specified HTML element. Now, everything is ready to render the dashboard. I open the application in the command prompt. I run this command. This installs dependent packages to manage dependencies, scripts, and packages required for building and running the application. I run .NET Restore to restore necessary packages. .NET Build to build the project. And .NET Run to run the application. Then I copy the URL and run it in a browser. You will see the Live Call Center dashboard rendered in the browser. If you want to open the dashboard in design mode, change the view mode to Design and Load Dashboard to Load Designer in the dashboard listing.js and run the application. You'll see the dashboard load in design mode. In this video, I've shown you how to embed a dashboard in React with ASP.NET Core in Bold BI. If you find this video helpful, click the like button and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching.